Good morning, Sava here from Football Heritage TV. How are you? Hope you are all well. Happy Tuesday. So, it looks like the manager situation at Spurs is sorted out. Like him, don't like him, wanted him, didn't want him, angry, happy, upset, nonplus. Well, it is what it is. That's where we are. Now, let the fun and games begin. The question I will ask you is this. I was watching Sky Sports News last night. Michael Bridge, a really good guy, Michael Bridge turned around and said that he expects there to be 10 players out at Spurs this summer and 10 players in. How do we all feel about that? Is it enough? Is it too much? Is it what's needed for a painful build? I keep seeing this word rebuild branded around as though we're rebuilding from something. I don't understand it. I never call it a rebuild. I call it a build because we need to build from scratch, from absolute scratch. Spurs need to build. I think everyone knows I'm pretty harsh. My standards are pretty high when it comes to footballers. I do not rate many of the Spurs squad. So who's going to go and who's going to stay? Who are we bringing in? Let's have a look at some options of who's going to go. Now, please remember in all of this that there were reports that Tottenham were going to rip up 7 or 8 contracts. Now, does that count as 7 or 8 as the 10 that are going? Are we going to sell a 10 on top of that? Are we going to rip up 7 contracts and sell 3 or 4? Will we have enough interest in our players to sell 3 or 4? What do you think? What do you guys think? Let's have a look at the obvious candidates to leave this club. Now, we won't group into this that Dan Zuma has gone. He was on loan. Longley will be going. Whether he comes back, I can't see it. For me, I can't see that Postecoglou will want him. And Lucas Moura has gone on a free as well. So I'm not going to count those 3. Let's have a look at some possibles. You guys tell me who would be your favourite 10 to go from this club. Now, when you break that down as a sentence, for anyone that starts talking about these delusions of grandeur that we should be getting 4th next year with a new manager and we should be challenging for trophies, just remember, we are talking about 10 or more players going from an entire squad. That should tell the world of football where Tottenham Hotspur are as a football club. That should tell you just how much work needs to be done. There are 6 footballers up there on the wall. 6 footballers. Now add another 4 to that, and that's how many we're talking about leaving the door in one go. So I'm going to start with a few options. Hugo Lloris has told the world that he wants to leave. I think every Spurs fan is pretty much resigned to the fact that Hugo will go. Lots of talk of Raya coming in. 40 million is what Brentford want. 40 million. Is that what Daniel Levy or the new director of football will indeed pay for Raya? So I think Hugo Lloris we can guarantee is going. Then when we look across the back line, it could be anyone. And I think this is where you're going to see the biggest turnover. You have got, from the right-hand side, you have got Porro and Emerson Royal. Will Emerson Royal fit in? Emerson Royal, you could potentially say, is the only fullback we've got on the right-hand side. But then what does that mean for Porro? Does he push further forward to the right wing? Does that mean that Pedro Porro we might not buy? We might not take up our clause to buy him? You've then got Tanganga, Sanchez, Roden who's coming back, Dyer, Davis, Sessegnon, Perisic, Reguilon. How many of those will still be here next year? Because Adoji's going to be here. He's just joining. How many of those players are going to be here? Interesting times. Ben Davis, does he stay? Does Ben Davis stay? Does Longley get bought? Then when you look into the midfield, is there room for Skip and Sarr in this squad? This is where we're lightest for me, in the midfield and the forward areas. This is where I can see least players going. But when you then look at that, and if I've completely contradicted myself, apologies, but there are lots of players coming back in midfield who I don't think they're going to want, which is why I say we're light there. You've got Winks, Ndombele, Lo Celso to add to the mix. You've got Dane Scarlett. Will they want him? Is he good enough? He didn't really make a positive impact at Portsmouth at all. He didn't really do anything. Troy Parrott's coming back. Is Troy Barrett good enough? He's been on multiple loans and the guy can't score goals. So who's going to go? Who's going to stay? You could say that Serge Reguilon can play in a back four. So that means he's a shoo-in to stay because Postecoglou plays in back four. You could say, what does that mean for Perisic? Is he the type of player that Postecoglou likes? Look at his teams from down the years, whether it was Japan or Australia or Scotland with Celtic. Lots of young, quick, energetic players. Is he gonna like the fact that Perisic can't run, that Skip can't really run? What do you think? Let me know. I'm really intrigued. Who's going to come through the door? We're hearing talks of Harvey Barnes, James Maddison. I would love James Maddison. Hopefully, can we nick in there and get them before anyone else bids? Because my worry with that is if we go toe-to-toe in a war, we don't get him. If we get there early enough, I think we can get him. Maddison will be perfect for us. Harvey Barnes, do you want him? Is he similar to what we've got? Let me know. David Raya. There's people talking about Guehi, about Anderson, Connor Cody. Who do we get in? It's going to be a very interesting summer, and I guarantee we're the busiest club this summer. I want to get excited about this. I'm not going to apologize about that. Let this guy cook. Let him do what he needs to do. Let him build a team over a couple of years and get rid of a lot of deadwood and bring in lots of young players. Give Postecoglou a chance. 10 in, 10 out. Let's see what happens. Much love. Please like, please subscribe, and I'll see you all later on. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.